Welcome to the Pirate Broadcast, where we interview interesting people doing interesting things, where you can expand your connections, your community. Kindness is cool and smiles are free. And let's get this party started. How are you today? Thank you so much for being here.
Thank
you.
For
those of you,
I'm excited.
It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. And I just want to thank everyone for joining us at the Pirate Broadcast today. You know, we have interesting people doing interesting things every single day, every 5 days a week at least. And I just want to thank and applaud you guys for in the community for connecting with each other, making introductions, sharing information, and building this up in a kind sort of way. Because, you know, the world needs a little more kindness, and we have the opportunity to deliver it every single day. So a little bit goes a long ways. So you never know where it's going to travel. So just go out there and do some random kind of act today and share a few smiles too. And talking about smiles, I have a guest here that is, we're going to talk about smiles and laughter and a little organic sustainability and a lot of different things. So I'm super excited to talk to Cathy today. Cathy, how are you today?
Thank you so much, Russ. I'm doing great. Yeah, nice introduction. Thank you.
Well, and it's really important for us to understand that, you know, you have, just to give kind of a little backstory for everyone, Cathy is she likes yoga and she likes laughter yoga. Now, I have a friend in Houston that truly believes that smiles and laughter physically changes individuals. You can physically change your attitude, your aptitude, your, you know, just way of being through laughter. So Cathy's going to talk a little bit about that. And then the other side of the equation, something that is near and dear to my heart, is composting, soil, and sustainability. And that part's we're going to talk about something that people don't think about a lot of times is worms, and which is a huge part in volumes of the way composting can take place. So this is real. This is two real, very different topics that we're going to be talking about, and we're going to tie it together because what do people call you, Cathy?
My working title is Cathy Crawley Laughing Bean Queen.
Yes. So, and I didn't mention the beans, so maybe you'll have to talk about that. But so about 5 years ago, you got into laughter yoga. And what prompted you to get into laughter yoga? And were you into yoga before that? I mean, did you already start into yoga and begin that process?
So I actually don't even do yoga. I just do laughter yoga.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so which is fine. So laughter yoga is not about fancy pants or poses. It's intentional laughter exercises designed to oxygenate our whole body. We've all heard that laughter is the best medicine.
Yeah.
It really is. It really is. You know, the laughter is in our control. It's waiting in us to burst out. We stifle our laughter often, and so I'm just encouraging everyone, just let it out.
Let it out.
So how did it come to me? Well, you talked about the sustainability part. I'm a worm advocate. I started my worm business in 2002. And, you know, it's indoor composting with worms. So not everybody wants worms in the house. Sure. I can't believe it. So to help me stay on my mission, I mean, we're going to talk about the worms in a bit, but to help me stay on my mission and really stay on track, I was introduced to laughter yoga in 2015. And I immediately grabbed, I'm a natural laugher. I loved it. I couldn't believe there was a thing, laughter yoga.
Well, I didn't actually know that it was a thing. And it's like fascinating to me because I enjoy laughing. I enjoy laughter. I enjoy creating happy moments, and everything else. And I'm not necessarily a comedian. However, I do like laughing. And it's one of those things that you can actually make observations and think, that's funny, that's interesting. And then you can laugh about things, circumstances and whatever it happens to be. So what prompts you? Is it just the physical act of laughing that you start and you process, or is it something you think about and then you focus in on, focusing your intention on something and then laughing about a topic or something like that? Walk us through the process, because to me it's fascinating.
Yeah, so it's really not jokes or comedy. It's just laughing. It really is intentional laughter exercises. So as a laughter teacher, the role is to encourage the participants to laugh through little silly games. It really is just instilling that childlike sense of play and wonder. So our brain knows that we're laughing, and it might feel weird, but our body does not. Our body does not know the difference between real and imagined laughter. So if you're just putting it on, ha 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 ha, your brain's like, wow, I feel weird, but the body's like, wow, pew pew pew, dopamine and serotonin secreting, the love drugs.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right?
Yeah.
Versus when we're stressed and we're secreting cortisol. So somebody cuts us off in traffic and we see like, ah. So instead of that, when somebody cuts me off now, it actually triggers me to do my laughter yoga. I'm like, oh, thanks for cutting me off. And then I start doing my laughter yoga. Like, and then
what a great response. It's like, okay, I always think that somebody might be in a bigger hurry than me. I don't know. It's like, go ahead, there's no front of the line here. I don't know. It's kind of crazy. Hey, I want to say hi to Michael Evans. He jumped in. He said, good morning, Michael. How are you doing? Good morning from Metro Detroit. And Olivia's here. Good morning, Russ and Cathy. So that's very cool. And then laughter is the best medicine. Absolutely, laughter is the best medicine. I love that. So you go through and you have this laughter process, and then you can trigger a little more dopamine, a little more, because you're, like you say, your body doesn't know the difference between real laughter and intentional laughter, right? It's one of those things that it doesn't really know the difference. So how long does the effect last? I mean, do you have an interval that you attempt to during your daily routines or anything like that you recommend?
I do encourage, 10 to 15 minutes of sustained belly laughter where you're laughing full on is equivalent to about 300 sit-ups.
Wow.
1, 2, 3. Oh, laughing is much easier.
Laughing is much easier. And it's a lot more fun. Yeah.
It's a lot more fun, and it really is contagious. So in a class, the class is maybe 30 to 60 minutes. And you go through different exercises. You start standing, then you go sitting, and then you end with a laughter meditation where if everybody's able, you're laying on the ground, you're fully connected, and you've all laughed together. Now, the laughter meditation is your chance to just laugh full on for as long as the meditation goes. And then you're just like fully oxygenated. And you asked how long do the effects last? That whole day. Your body, like your cells, are having a party.
Oh, wow.
And then you sleep well that night.
I would imagine so. I guess if you just probably did a Google search, you could find people that are involved in laughter therapy and laughter yoga and all kinds of things. And this is the beautiful thing about the pirate broadcast and being a pirate in the community is there's so many different careers, experiences, ways of living and ways of being that it's really fascinating to me of how people arrived at that point. So you probably had some experience in that brought your attention to that. And I think, was it the laughter came first or the worms came first?
The worms came first. So 2002, I started my worm business.
Okay.
2002. So here's how that came about. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, tell us the backstory on that one.
Yeah, long before that, I was afraid of worms. I'm afraid of, what am I afraid of? I'll start a business in that. No.
And then I'll start laughing about it later.
That's right.
There's a story in there, Cathy. There's a story in there. It's like, let's laugh about it.
The landfill for the Greater Toronto, I'm in just north of Toronto, and the landfill for the Greater Toronto area closed in 2002, and we started shipping garbage to Michigan. Yikes! I'll let that settle in for a second. Wow, like 1,000 trucks a week, 1,000 trucks leaving the Toronto area every week. Honkin' transfer trucks, not like cute little garbage trucks, 18-wheelers. Wow. Wow. So that's, broken on so many levels. Like I would say, I do a lot of school workshops, and I say to the kids, can you imagine, shame on us as Canadians for shipping our garbage to the country. Sorry here, but double shame on the Americans for accepting our garbage for cash.
Right. No
right?
kidding.
This is government doing this.
Yeah.
So I knew there was a better way. This is indoor composting. So Toronto area, I'll use Toronto again as a larger center. 6 million people, 6 million, half living in apartments, condos, without space to do outdoor composting. And so all of their organic matter was going to landfill. It didn't make sense. Like these are resources that we can use.
This is insanity.
Yes, insanity. That's what I should say.
Yeah.
Right. So I knew I had a better way.
There are ways that we can recycle and compost. I used to build compost bins when I had outdoor space, and currently I don't do that because I don't have any plants. I don't have any animals. I don't have any, I'm not farming or gardening right now because I'm in Arizona. It's 110 degrees. And however, we could do indoor, it's not impossible. And but it's something we have to think about in this sustainability and reducing our output. Because if you can take, let's say, half your trash and compost it and then recycle it and grow something from it, that's an amazing thing, right?
It's magic.
It's magic. It is magic.
It's magic. It's nature's magic.
And it works. And it turns into black gold. It's this black gold. When you have composting and worms working, and it's just, you open it up and it's like, where did that all go? Where did it went? And it's just amazing how the process works. And people don't understand or realize the potential that we have. And it seems like once you get a worm, do they call them colonies or do they call them?
Worm colony. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, worm colonies. Once you get that batch going, it just continues to grow. And then do you separate your colonies into new colonies or?
Yes. So yes, we're selling worms by the pound actually.
Okay. Selling worms by the pound.
So worms have 5 hearts each. 5 hearts each. Each worm has 5 hearts. Is what I want to say. Wow.
Okay. 5 parts worm, 1 part compost. Right? Well, think about it. Think about how much we could reduce and reuse if we all had our own little. I kind of think in like aquarium, in the house. So what are your indoor worm colonies look like? I'm trying to picture that. Like aquariums?
Sort of. I mean, the worms don't like the light, so you wouldn't want to have an open container. The system that I have actually right now doubles as a piece of furniture. So it's a stool, and it's got 2 trays, 2 operating trays. So when the one tray fills up, holes in the bottom of each tray, you just set up the next tray, and then the worms follow the food.
Okay.
Yeah, it's super cute.
That is genius. So it doesn't take up that much space.
It does not. No, it's like 2 feet by 2 feet and maybe 2 feet tall. It's cute.
So feeding, do do you prepare the worm food before it goes in a certain way, or?
What I tell people is whatever you're doing right now, like with your scraps, you just want to kind of chop them up. If you let them decompose a little bit first and then add them in, that's going to speed up the process.
Okay.
And also you can manage your moisture that way. But really it's all of your food and all your fruit and vegetables, coffee, tea, pasta, rice, and then your paper scraps. So you're looking at two things from the waste stream that can go in your worm bin. And then it's turning it into, as you said, into black gold. So then you can grow more nutrient rich food. Our food is broken. We import a lot of food. And then the food that we're getting, like the soil's broken. So if the soil's broken, the food can't be whole. How could it? Yeah.
Well, there's some soil that is not, it's no longer soil. And they just use, sprayed on nutrients and chemicals to grow whatever happens to be in that dirt. And it's not soil. It's
dirt.
It's dirt.
Yeah.
There's a big difference. And I don't think a lot of people realize or even think about the difference in between soil and dirt. Because soil is so rich in nutrients. It's just like you dive your hands in this soil, and and I've made compost beds, and I've grown gardens, and tilled soil, and it's just it brings back a lot of good memories. And the reality is well, of course the weeds grow first, but it's like, pull the weeds out, it's like weeding. But the vegetables and the fruit and the things that you could grow in your orchard or your garden, and it's just amazing. It's the flavors and the taste. We used to grow heirloom potatoes, and people don't realize the diversity in what there is in potatoes compared to what is in the store being sold. And there are a lot of varieties. I think we had 50 at one point in time. We used to sell them.
Wow.
We used to sell them at the farmer's market, and then blueberries and things like that. But the deer like the blueberries better than so. The birds and the deer. And it's like, okay, it's a battle.
They gotta eat too.
They gotta eat too. So, and it's just fascinating to me how little things like this in the world can make a difference and a shift in what we're doing. And I think it's an attitude too, because it does take some time to think about how you want to do this. You could chop your vegetables and throw it in an old coffee can and stuff like that, and allow that to, like you say, adjust the moisture, and then you can use that to feed the worms, and then it takes a little time to feed that worm. Do you have a ratio of worms to food?
Yeah, so the worms eat about half their weight per day once they're established. So if you had a pound of worms, you'd be looking at 3 to 4 pounds of food waste per week. It's substantial.
And then so I took a 3-pound coffee can of kitchen waste, fairly, right?
Juicy.
The right juiciness, right? And as you do that, it might take 30 days, a month, 2 months to convert to compost.
Yes, exactly. That's right.
Okay.
And it's a process. So some of the scraps will be processed, and then some will still be there, and then you add more, and when you add your second layer on the system that I have, some will stay, some will be like, yay, new adventure, so they go on upstairs, and the ones that stay downstairs, they'll finish what's happening. Now the volume's reducing. If it's not touching the holes, the worms aren't able to climb upstairs. So those worms that stay downstairs that are like, oh, we're good. Once they're mentally ready to go upstairs, they're like, oh, how did those other guys get upstairs? But it's not touching anymore. So what I say to people is embrace change or be consumed by the system.
Okay. So do you layer with like paper or anything like that? Paper goods?
Yes.
I know when I was looking at it years ago, and because I was looking at the same thing, I was like, this could be kind of cool, selling worms, and they're doing their thing over there. Just got to feed them once in a while and make sure that they're okay, and then ship them off when I need to. And it's just and I looked at layers, and how they layer and different I guess sessions or like different phases of how they compost the food and where they go. It is truly fascinating, and I'm just so impressed by the fact that I finally caught up with somebody that knows a little bit more about it that I can talk to and laugh about it. So this is fascinating. We got a few more people in the show here. We got Olivia. When was the last time you had a good laugh? Oh, and then she tagged a few people. Fantastic. I love this. And then Olivia, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate that. And
I love you too.
Yeah. Thank you. Good morning. You should be here. Claudio. Thank you so much, Russ and Cathy. Good morning. Worms by the pounds. I love that. And Wendy says, thank you, Russ. We needed Cathy on the pirate ship.
Oh, Wendy.
Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that awesome? I like that. I like that. So let's talk a little bit about where you're going with this. You've got, and you mentioned also you do sprouts, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that ties right into good soil. I mean, nutrients in the soil. You got clean, just amazing soil and nutrients. So then I would imagine that you're selling sprouts as well.
Yes, I actually have a super simple sprout grower. It kind of looks like a little spaceship.
Okay.
So it's actually hydroponic. It's not grown with the soil. It kind of goes together because it's about sustainability. Yeah, it's just hydroponic. So it's got a little, water in the bottom, and then it's got a little dome on it. So it's like a little microclimate.
Yeah.
And it's super fast. And Russ, I met the gentleman that designed that in 2002. It was a big year for me. Started my worm business, sprouts. And I eat sprouts every day. I start my day with 2 tablespoons of these sprouted beans, mostly for the enzymes. Up to 100 times more digestive enzymes in raw sprouts than raw vegetables.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like sprouts. I get in a phase where I've moved so many times that you get into your routine wherever you live, and so depending on what's around you and what's available and everything else, so I need to start thinking healthy. Well, I'll start thinking healthier, and then look for ways to do that. Hydroponics is another area that is fascinating to me because vertical farming is, I think, the way that we're going to shift from, or one way we could shift from corporate cultivation.
And monoculture.
Yeah, and it's really important for us to understand that there's other ways to grow food that we can have available to us. And it doesn't require us to ship it from another country to be here, And a lot of people have no idea about agriculture and farming and sustainable farming and plants and how it all fits together. And so where do you see that going? What do you anticipate, or what would you like to see take place in the next few years in terms of education and understanding?
You know what? Well, when I started my worm business, my goal was to put worms in every living space. Right? Every house, every classroom, every business. So we don't need to truck around this wet material anymore. And then, when people are out and about, they would have their banana and they'd be like, oh, where's the worm bin? I would just toss it right in.
Yeah.
That's not happening fast enough for me. So, I think I would just like to continue educating people to let them know. I think you said it. You need to have a shift in your thinking. Because right now we just throw it in the garbage. It's easy. You throw it away. The magic truck comes along, takes it away. And it's like, oh, it's gone. Good. Phew. Bye-bye, garbage. Right? But if we have a shift and we're like, oh, I want to grow my own food. If you want to grow your own food, you better make your own soil because the industry is not regulated. Right? Compost, soil, it's not regulated. So you know what you're getting.
Well, and another thing that people don't realize, at least in the U.S. here, and you nailed it when you talked about it earlier, is like a lot of the plastic recycling that we used to have in the U.S. was essentially shipped in empty containers going to China.
Yeah.
And then they would build stuff and create stuff and then ship it back to us so we could buy it and then dispose of it and ship it back for recycle, right? That's not happening right now. And there's a buildup of plastic recycles and recyclables that are not going anywhere. And the cost of picking that up, recycling it in the traditional way we have been doing is not cost effective. So at some point in time, there's going to be a collapse. And, I don't know, there's a big campaign years ago, about recycling and, not littering and things like that. However, it's a much bigger issue that I think that people need to be educated about and say, hey, every time you throw, your plastic Coke bottle in there, it has to go somewhere, and we're paying for transportation for that. Now we can't compost with worms with plastic that I'm aware of. I don't know unless we got super worms right now, but I think we just need to think about how we can remove and reduce some of that from our lives and from our environment. And in restaurants, they got away from styrofoam, except in Texas. They still use styrofoam in some states. And just little steps like that, just little incremental steps, paper containers versus plastic containers. And then, if we all had worm boxes on every corner or community gardens, if we had a community garden every three miles, it would make a huge difference because then people in apartments could go participate in these gardens. Mm-hmm. I don't know, just ideas like that, and just start thinking about, okay, how do we actively participate in this action to remove waste? And I don't know, it's a subject worth talking about, and a bunch of pirates are going to talk about it. So
I hope so.
Yeah.
Planting seeds, right? Planting seeds. We can't.
Planting seeds.
Yeah, we don't. If what I say is, without awareness, action is impossible. And I came up with that little slogan because of my business. I was like, if you don't know about worm composting, you're not calling me.
Yeah. Yeah. Without awareness, it's impossible.
It is impossible. It's impossible.
Yeah. So I want to make sure that people. Wendy says, "Oh, here we go." Razvan said, "Good morning, Cathy and Russ. Thank you so much for being here, Razvan." Hello, Pirates. Wendy, how are you? She's so awesome. We still have a coffee date or something we gotta work out, Wendy. Mm-hmm. I started cutting out sodas 2.5 years ago and have fewer sugar cravings now, fewer cavities. Hey. Nice. Yeah, I'm not a big banana peels are great for my hydrangeas.
Okay.
Very good. Very good. Sorry, have to go. Wish you a wonderful day. And there's Karen Joseph. Hello, Karen Joseph. She's an amazing individual here in Phoenix. And then Arcot. Howdy, pirate guys. Good morning, everyone. I really want to reflect on this a little bit where we're thinking about being considerate to others. I really preach kindness and the ability and the opportunity to, spread a little joy around the world. And it doesn't take much effort at all. It's so what can we do, Cathy, to bring that awareness to the table and promote, some more information about worms and laughter and some of these wonderful things that you're putting together. Where do people find you?
Oh, so Cathy'sComposters.com is my website, my name. You can find all of my offerings there. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm kind of all over social media.
We'll put those in the links.
I would love to encourage everyone just to have a conversation. If this is the first time you've heard about worm composting, go and tell a couple of people so then they can hear about it for the first time. Right? And then people get intrigued. I say it's about a 3-year sales cycle. once people are first introduced to worms. And then I see them again. They're like, oh, I've been thinking about you since I saw you last year. I'm like, I know. See you in a couple of years.
Yeah. See you in a couple of years. I'll just keep knocking on your door.
Yep.
Mentioning the worms. That's fantastic. I know that there's probably different resources. Are there organizations that promote worms and everything else? I guess we could Google this and find out if there's resources available, education available, and things like that. Are there any sites that you recommend that we can go to?
Actually, there's in North Carolina. There's if people Google Rhonda Sherman, she puts on a worm composting conference every year. It kind of was changing around, so I'm not sure if it's going to be August or October this year.
Pandemic, so.
Right, yeah, so I might be online, who knows. But that's a great resource. Anybody that's thinking about getting into this or doing it, that's a great resource.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, namaste to all. Arcot says, kindness rocks. Love you, Russ Johns. I love you, Karen. Thank you so much. Let's connect soon. And then good morning, Cathy, Russ. Fred Costa, as always, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate everyone that's being here. Cathy, this has been a breath of fresh air for me, and it kind of shifted my thought process. Things, as with most things in life, nothing is constant. Everything is changing. And that's the whole magic of composting. It converts from one thing to another thing. And we have these things that we call worms that are doing the work for us, the heavy lifting, and creating that black gold. And it's important for us to understand that there is possibilities out there that we had not considered. And I want you to repeat it one more time. Awareness.
Without awareness, action is impossible.
Without awareness, action is impossible. I love that.
Thank
So
you.
if you want to share any nuggets of knowledge or legacy wisdom with us, what would you suggest we think about as we go forward in our day today?
I would like to encourage everyone to add laughter to their life. Like if you're thinking, oh, I feel sad or I'm stressed, start smiling, and then dopamine and serotonin will start secreting. You'll feel better. Just laugh every day.
Just laugh every day. Gabriel, good morning, everyone. So we could go on forever about this. However, I know that we all have something to do. And I just really want to encourage everyone to think about what you're doing over the weekend and having, a little bit of activity that brings a little light and laughter in your world. And because kindness is cool, smiles are free. And thank you, Cathy. I just wish everyone the very best in their day and their adventures. And so you enjoy the day. Thanks, Cathy. Thank you for joining the Pirate Broadcast. If you found this content valuable, please like, comment, and share it across your social media channels. I would love the opportunity to help others grow in their business. The Pirate Syndicate is a platform where you show up, we produce the show. It's that easy. If you want to be seen, be heard, and be talked about, join the Pirate Syndicate today.